I finally switched to AMD and honestly, I didn't see this coming. I've always been an Nvidia fanboy, ray tracing, DLSS, you know, all that green stuff. But recently I needed an upgrade. The funny number GPU, a top tier GPU from a few years ago. It's the OC Phantom Gaming Edition with 16GB of VRAM and most importantly RGB, which obviously adds plus 50% to FPS. You know, back when I was with Nvidia, I used to think ray tracing was their thing, like no one else could do it. Oh, блять, I was wrong. Look, this is Cyberpunk with full ray tracing on, and plus a lot of mods installed on top. It looks beautiful. You know, at first it was honestly kinda hilarious. I had just bought this massive GPU for just 400 bucks, an insane deal by the way, and the moment I got it home, I realized something horrifying. It didn't fit in my case, like at all. I mean, I hoped it would fit. Like maybe if I pushed it gently just right, but no. This thing was a monster, a full 33 centimeters long. This was the biggest GPU I had ever held in my life, so yup, my temporary solution, this one. Yes, an open air setup, supported by Lego by the way. Yeah, I'm not even kidding, Lego. Hey! I was genuinely shocked that Lego didn't melt, and in some cases it would heat up like to 75 degrees maximum. I even asked ChatGPT and it said Lego starts melting at around 120 degrees, so technically I was good. But still, don't do this ever. So how did this even happen? Person like me, someone who used Nvidia whole life, suddenly switched to the red side, to AMD. Well, the reason is actually kinda dumb. You see, I live in a pretty small town, and because of that, the GPU market here is super limited. The prices for the new GPUs are also pretty high. I'm not that rich, блять. I'm broke as hell. So yup, my GPU choice basically came down to what was available in my area. I keep checking the local market and all I could find were low-tier cards, like GTX 1650 Super, 1050 Super, sometimes a 3070 if I was lucky. But come on guys, 3070? 8 gigs of RAM in 2025? Nah dude, it's not enough. My old-ass RTX 3050 had the same amount of VRAM, so basically, it's pointless for me. I wanted something more powerful. And then, one day, I found it. The funny number GPU. Not just any version, it was the OC edition 16GB of VRAM, and the price pretty sweet, just $400. I had that exact budget saved up, so I was like, screw it, let's go for it. I called the seller, arranged a meetup, and boom, I bought it. It was a bit of a risky move, to be honest. I didn't even test the GPU before buying it. The seller offered to test it, but I was like, my boy, it's okay, I trust you. Oh, and get this, my town is so small that the guy who sold me the GPU turns out to be a trainer at the local gym I used to go to. Dude was the absolutely jacked guy with dreadlocks. When I met him, I was honestly shocked. Like, I would never have guessed that he was into gaming. I just stood there thinking, bro, you play games? You own this beast of GPU? Wow! You know, I've been using my AMD GPU for almost 3 weeks now, and honestly, I barely noticed any downsides. The FPS boost compared to my old 3050 is absolutely insane. Games that I couldn't even run on ultra settings before, like Battlefield 2042 or Forza Horizon 5, now run on ultra no problem at all. But don't get me wrong, it's not all perfect. After playing with this GPU for a while, I noticed two major issues. First of all, the lack of proper DLSS. Yeah, I know, there is that thing called FSR, but let's be real, it's trash. It just ruins the image quality. It's all blurry and soft. And as someone who used DLSS before, FSR doesn't even come close. Second, ray tracing is kind of a mess. Like, yeah, ray tracing does work sometimes. For example, in GTA 5 Enhanced, ray tracing works just fine with my AMD GPU. No crashes, looks great. But in Cyberpunk, man, that's a different story. If you enable all the ray tracing options in Cyberpunk, the game just crashes every 10 minutes. I'm not even kidding. And the worst part, it runs fine before the crash. Great FPS, fully playable, looks amazing. But then, блять, somehow game crashes and it ruins the whole experience. It's honestly super annoying. The only thing you can really do is test each game individually if you want to play with ray tracing. See, I'm the kind of guy who's obsessed with graphics. Like seriously, I am a full-on graphics guy. Half of my channel is literally built around visuals and mods, so for me, ray tracing is a top priority. You know, it was honestly disappointing to find out that my brand new GPU technically supports ray tracing, but not always. Sometimes it just doesn't work right. So yeah, I had to sacrifice those beautiful graphics just to keep my game stable. And as someone who lives for visuals, that sucks. Guys, if you're the kind of person who's never even heard of DLSS or ray tracing, or honestly if you just don't give a shit about that stuff, then go ahead and grab an AMD GPU. You won't regret it. Okay, what does AMD give you? Poor power, raw performance. That's it, simple and solid. But if you're someone who wants all the fancy extra stuff like ray tracing, DLSS and all those shiny tech features, then yup, go with Nvidia. The choice is pretty clear. Hey, do you want the most performance for the lowest price? Go with AMD. Hey, you want next gen features and all of that stuff? Go with Nvidia. But in my case, I kinda screwed up a little. I didn't fully do my research and ended up going with AMD. But you know, my comrades, I don't regret it. I was coming from an RTX 3050, so this was still a massive upgrade. You know, I think I just got lucky, because in my town almost nobody knows about AMD. When I told my friends that I bought a funny number GPU, most of them were like, wait, is that a new Nvidia card? Is that from the 6000 series or something? They really thought it was an RTX card. So to keep it simple, I just told them I got an RTX 3090, because let's be honest, the funny number GPU is just as powerful as RTX 3090, and sometimes even stronger. So maybe that's why I was able to buy it so cheap. Like I said before, my town is that small, that big GPUs like the funny number GPU are super rare here. I remember one time I saw an RTX 3080 for a really good price, but someone bought it super fast. I didn't even have time to react. I almost had enough money to buy it too, but I missed it. Meanwhile, the AMD GPU that I bought had been sitting on the marketplace for about a month. Yeah, I saw it before, but I didn't want to buy it because I didn't really understand AMD cards. To be honest, it felt easier to buy something I already knew, and that's Nvidia, of course. But as you can see, things changed, and in the end I had to switch to the red team. Yeah, you could say that I moved to AMD because of the situation, not really by my choice. And you know, I don't regret it. Like people say, no risk, no rewards. I still don't get why so many people are always hating on AMD. Right now I am using an AMD GPU by myself, and before I was using Nvidia. From my experience, most of the hate towards AMD just doesn't make sense. Maybe I'm not some expert in graphics cards, and that's okay, I don't need to be. I bought the GPU, installed it, set up the drivers, and it worked, no problems. I'm not one of those people who likes every little detail and every little setting. All I care about is that the GPU works, game launches on ultra settings, and it runs smooth, my friend, very smooth. That's enough for me. I'm enjoying it.
Say it again. What? Hold on. But what did you